like most people who wind up in it, it wasn't intentional. While I was a student at Earlham College, Quaker College down in the east side of Indiana, I was there on a scholarship and a work study, and for some reason, I was selected to drive the president on some of his speaking engagements around in the state, because he liked to work when he was in the car as opposed to driving. And so I got a glimpse. I met some of the trustees of the college. Now, I only spent a few hours a month doing that kind of thing, but it was a brand new experience for me. And then the vice president for, I guess he was called public relations, he was sort of the general vice president, used some of my work study time to do some things for him. Not very much, but it gave me an exposure to a world that I'd never been around or known. And after I graduated, I actually spent a year coaching athletics in a high school in Iowa. Had a great time and just loved it, but decided I should go on with my plan, which was to get a theological degree. I never planned to be a parish, we didn't call them parishes in the Quaker group, but a parish minister. I wanted to work for a church-related educational institution. And it had to do, I think, primarily because of my experiences as a student at Earlham. And the president of the college came to my graduation from Hartford Seminary and offered me a job. And I went immediately to begin work for the college and learned something about fundraising, not very much, but that really just led really from one thing to another. To me, I can't think of anything that I would rather have done. And it was really a rewarding experience, really capped by my 18 years at Lilly Endowment, with just an unusual opportunity that I was given that happened because of circumstances, not really in my doing, but there I was given this opportunity, literally, to write a job description of what I proposed to do, and then that developed. I've thought about that a number of times. I would say, from really the way I was brought up and the faith aspect, we lived in a little tiny town in Indiana that was really a rural community, and the little town was made up of retired farmers and shopkeepers and the like. But we lived there, and my mother, to supplement the family income, made cottage cheese, and we kept a cow outside of town, and my older brothers milked it, and she made this cottage cheese, which I would peddle around town when I was in grade school. And I remember absolutely, I got 10 cents a pint, and 5 cents went to my mother and 5 cents to me. But before anything was done with that money, a tenth was taken out and put aside to give to the church. So I like, and I've heard this kind of story from many people, where they learned the importance of sharing, and we didn't call it philanthropy, but that's what it was. I'm just so committed to the independent sector, and I've used different terms because there are different ways of referring to that. But I'm such a believer in the power of volunteers and of the charitable sector, and that's a broad that covers lots of things. But it's funny you would mention that about my continuing, because now this has not been a typical day, but I'm on the board of a fairly new community foundation here that's in this community where the retirement home is located, which is a new location for me, a move to this community. And I dealt with an issue on that this morning, and then I also dealt with a scholarship fund that we've established for the children of employees and their families, of people who work here at the retirement community. And we're handling the fund through the Community Foundation for Southern Arizona. So and I've gone off the board of the Center on Philanthropy, and I've dropped other connections, because for one thing, I think other people need to come along, and I need to empty a spot for them. And then somehow or other, this old time business catches up with us, and I don't want to travel anymore, and I frankly don't want to do as much as I used to do, but I enjoyed it. And my wife volunteered in schools too after she retired, so I guess it's something we do. It's, as I say, I've really been so fortunate to be in the spots where I've been. Wouldn't change any of it.